Today, I want to talk about the wide receiver position and the depth that's there. And all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time, even on the days where I am quite literally fighting the stomach flu, like stomach virus. Like, I was taking care of my girlfriend Laurel last night because, well, she had the stomach flu, stomach virus. And I'm an idiot. So I woke up this morning blowing chunks all over her nice linoleum bathroom floor, having it coming out of both ends. And yet here I am going, I gotta do the upload, right? So like if I sound not necessarily my peak energetic self, it's because I'm literally drank an entire bottle of Pedialyte today, and I'm on the brat diet, which is not necessarily a diet that insinuates that I'm a toddler, although we all know that I can be a toddler on this channel. Look, I kind of had this one written out for a while now, and even through a headache, I can tell you that CeeDee Lamb is Oklahoma's best offensive weapon, period. That includes Jalen Hurts, that includes Kennedy Brooks, that includes Trey Sermon, that includes the 3 5-star wide receivers, Theo, Wease, Trejan Bridges, and of course, Jadon Haselwood. That includes Grant Calcaterra, that includes Lee Morris. I can keep going here, right? And that's kind of the point. So as that dude goes, number 2, CeeDee Lamb, you'll see a lot of Oklahoma's offense go, specifically because I think it's going to look a lot more like OU's 2015 offense when Baker Mayfield was first becoming the guy that we all come to know and love. And you want to run the ball half the time when you're Lincoln Riley with this offense. Not just because it opens up the pass and not just because, well, football aficionados would tell you you want to be balanced, but just so you can give guys like CeeDee an opportunity to get one-on-one opportunities against defensive backs, safeties. I don't necessarily think that's going to be what happens most of the time. I think you're going to get used to seeing a safety over the top of CeeDee Lamb in 2019 because everybody knows what I just told you. He's the best offensive weapon OU has, and you have to tell OU, and by OU I mean Lincoln Riley, we're just going to take that option off the board. If you beat us up with Kennedy Brooks or Trey Sermon or any other wide receiver, maybe Charleston Rambo on the other side, maybe one of the 5 stars, cool. We'll take that because I think if you just let CeeDee run free, he's going to eat you alive, especially now that this seems to be well and truly his wide receiver core, and it has some absolute depth beneath it. Like, we got CeeDee out there at the X, but then you go to the Z, you talk about Charleston Rambo. You even start to talk about Trejan Bridges. Maybe Michael Jones, we'll see if he plays inside or outside this season. Dude basically took off last year, coming back from an injury. I expect him to be pretty good. Now, Jadon Haselwood and Theo Wease are really what I think the very cool dudes are when you talk about the depth here, because you have an opportunity to play that guy at X or play that guy at Z, whether it be Theo Wease or Trejan Bridges. And with either one of them, that's a luxury. I mean, it's one thing to be able to play Theo Wease or Jadon Haselwood at one or the other position, but because you have so much depth in the form of other guys, even getting back a guy like A.D. Miller, who, by the way, looked the part for like 3 years and could still end up being the part before it's all said and done. I'm not going to say that he's not going to contribute at all. I just wouldn't bet anything on it. You get to see a guy like A.D. Miller maybe not even touch the field. That's how deep Oklahoma is at wide receiver. And there's lots of other folks that would love to have an A.D. Miller on their roster. We can keep going through it, right? The fact that Jadon Haselwood, Theo Wease, and Trejan Bridges all ended up at Oklahoma is not a small thing. You still got Jaquaylin Crawford in the slot, and I haven't even begun to talk about the slot. I'll talk about it a little bit later, but I wanted to focus on CeeDee Lamb's position in particular, that X-receiver position, and just how great it is to be able to throw bodies at that position in case something happens to CeeDee in the way that something happened to Rodney, and you have dudes that can come up and play right away and help you. I mean, basically, you're not going to miss a step. I mean, you'd rather have CeeDee Lamb than not. But to be able to just say, okay, cool, we're going to throw Charleston Rambo over to the X, or we're going to run Theo Wease or Jadon Haselwood out at the X, or we're going to throw Trejan Bridges out at the West. You know, it's just one of those things that I think that a lot of offensive coordinators and wide receiver coaches would love to be able to say, which leads me to Dennis Simmons and the job that he's been doing in recruiting the last few years. We talk about Cale Gundy a lot because Cale Gundy has been the best recruiter at Oklahoma for a very long time. And you could even make an argument that Mike Stoops was right there behind him, pushing him to be that guy. Dennis Simmons needs to be talked about in that way. If for no other reason, then look at what he's brought in the last couple of years. But all of these guys are wide receivers that other places would love to have. They come in, they contribute, they develop, and they get drafted. And that is, for me, the mark of a good position coach. How many of your kids are getting drafted and getting drafted highly? You know, we just saw Marquise Brown go in the first round as a dude that I'm about as tall as he is. I weigh about as much as he does. Difference is he runs a 4.33 40-yard dash, and I'm, basically I'm faster than a tortoise, but I'm slower than a hare. You get what I'm going with that. So Dennis Simmons needs to be talked about in the way that we talk about other coaches at Oklahoma when we talk about recruiting, because it's not slowing down. We saw that with Cody Jackson, who became the first commit for the 2021 class, who is a converted quarterback. And anytime you can get a converted quarterback out of high school to pick another position, I always think that's going to be good for your football team, because those guys just understand football at a level that not a lot of other places seem to understand. All right, that's it for me. Doses.